Before I start the video, I would like to give a massive shout out to my Patreons who have been supporting my channel. If you would like to check out my Patreon and receive early access to some very exciting videos coming soon, then please click the link in the description below. Hello there, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Just a Nerd podcast. And today I am joined by a very special guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Troy. I'm also known as Red Archer Live. Good to be here, mate. Thanks for asking me.
I tell you, man, it's an absolute honor to have you here. So, if you'd like to
Oh,
explain, what you do content-wise.
so there's one of two things I'll probably be known for. For your community, I'm probably more known for being half of Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast, which is a weekly Doctor Who podcast I've done with CrispyPro now for 18 months. My God, I didn't realize
Blimey.
it had been that long. I didn't realize it had been that long, to be honest. It's still funny because we've only done reviews of 2 episodes broadcast live because we've only had Sea Devils and Power of the Doctor in that time. So,
Blimey, that
like,
puts things into perspective.
yeah,
It really
like
does.
it feels like we haven't done as much, but we really have, like, what, 70 episodes deep now. It's mad to think. But there's that. There's also my gaming channel, which is known for like Payday stuff, Red Archer Live, which is the bigger thing. But I feel like the thing that your fans will not know as much about. So it's interesting, I think, for my Twitter in particular, because I have like a good chunk of people follow me for Payday stuff and a good chunk now follow me for Doctor Who. It used to be that whenever I talked about Doctor Who, I'd never get anyone like interacting with my tweets, but now I get a good bit for both, and it's like it's nice just to see there's like 2 different groups of people following me now.
Yeah, I mean that's it's two very different audiences as well. Because for those who
Yeah.
don't know, Payday is it's a bank heist simulator, really. It's a yeah,
Yeah, and the thing with Payday fans, they're notoriously loyal to Payday. They don't tend to check out a lot of other stuff. So you've got a
yeah.
very kind of almost closed audience there with Payday stuff, and then Doctor Who is just like a completely different beast. But I mean, Doctor Who's the more interesting one for me in some ways because it's a thing I've been a fan of for much longer than Payday. So it kind of wins in length.
Yeah, no, of course. But speaking of being a fan of Doctor Who, Troy, would you mind going into detail of when you first became a fan of the show?
So that was 2007. I jumped on with series 3. So Smith and Jones was my first episode,
Oh,
which
okay.
that's like I feel like that's like an underrated. That's a really good jumping on point. I mean, I
Yeah,
missed like the hype of Rose, which is like it's sad and it's weird because I remember because I think I was I 5? I would have been when it first started. Yeah, I was 5 because I turned 6 in 2005. Yeah, so I would have been 5 when Chris Eccleston came back on this when Doctor Who came back with Chris Eccleston. And I remember seeing little bits on the TV and being like, "Oh, what's this?" and not really thought anything of it. And I don't know why. I'm not really sure what did it, but it just came around a couple of years later. There was a trailer for it. And I thought, we'll give this a watch, and then I was hooked immediately right from the start. I mean, David and Freema were an electric pair. It was
yes.
just like a very easy way to get you into it, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on that episode in particular, yeah, like you said, it was a really good jumping on point because, you were introduced to all of the, core elements of the show, time travel. It was a companion introduction episode as well. So yeah, you were kind of experiencing things from Martha's perspective as well. She bumped into this random guy in the street, then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the hospital's on the moon. I mean, yeah, it is a really good introduction episode.
Yeah, it's a really, really strong one. I think it's handled really, really well. And then I just basically went back. I don't know if it was during series 3 or after it. I know that by the time series 4 came around, I'd caught up on everything. I'm just not sure how soon during or after series 3 I'd watched the other stuff, but I knew I was hooked and I was like, right, gotta watch everything now.
No, I mean that's completely, fair, and obviously, you became, essentially addicted to the Hooniverse, and yeah. So from that episode, then, did you watch everything weekly, or did you, take a few episodes out, or were you
No,
immediately
everything.
hooked?
It was weekly though. Like it very quickly got to the point where if we were out on a Saturday evening or something, I'd be upset like to miss an episode. I know that I remember missing Gridlock at broadcast and then seeing it the next day, and even then that was only like episode 3, and I was like, oh, I wanted to watch this when it was live. We were at like a family friend's house or something. I remember that it was on the TV in the background, but I was like avoiding it. I was like, I don't want to see any of it. I'll just watch it tomorrow. Like I was fully invested like right off the bat, and I missed, funny enough, the broadcast of the final episode, Last of the Time Lords, and I remember being very upset about that because we were busy and having to watch that the next day. So it had me like it's sunk its teeth into me very quickly.
No, I mean, Series 3, I feel like as a whole is very underrated, and I want to know your opinion on this, especially as that being your first series. Obviously, in the finale, we had the reintroduction of the Master.
Mm.
Um, how did you feel when on broadcast it was revealed that the seemingly innocent Professor Yana was some evil Time Lord? Like, how did you feel at that reveal at the time?
I really wish I remembered it more vividly than I do, because I was only like, what, 7? It's so weird to think. I know it was mad kind of being caught out by the twist. It was the Yana thing, mainly the fob watching the Yana thing, that got to me more than it being another Time Lord, which I guess sounds weird.
Yeah,
But
no,
I don't think it properly settled in that it was like an evil Time Lord until John Sim took control. Like Derek Jacobi was amazing, but like the dynamic that John and David had, I thought was absolutely amazing. So that whole thing was what kind of drew me in. But the reveal was so brilliantly done. In some ways, I do wish I'd been a little bit older so I could have I could remember and like properly understand it at the time. And be like, oh wow! But it was more like the Yana thing that got me there. I feel like that was like, oh, that's when that. Oh, okay.
yeah, because obviously gridlock as well. You know, the whole "you are not
Mm.
alone" thing. You know, is Russell's many examples of some innocent foreshadowing. You know, where you don't think it means anything at first, and then lo and behold, later on, it
Ah,
does.
no, there's nothing innocent about that, man. Let's be fair. There's nothing innocent about Russell.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, actually, yeah, I take that one back. So you mentioned after that series, you did end up at some point catching up with the
Hmm,
other modern, seasons.
yeah.
Um, did you end up watching any of the spin-off shows that were airing at that point around that time?
I was a bit too young at the time for Torchwood. My mum
Yeah.
would let me watch some of it, but it was a bit like I think I seem to remember at some point I dropped I swore or something when I was like 8 or 9, and she heard me and went, right, you're not watching Torchwood. I remember that vividly. I remember that vividly. And I was like, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. So like I do remember watching bits of it. I do remember watching, I think, a chunk of Children of Earth. I know I watched Miracle Day at broadcast, but I have seen, I think, every episode since, but it's been a while, so I definitely need to rewatch it. But Sarah Jane, I was on board from the start.
Yeah.
Watched it as soon as it came out, was watching everything on broadcast, and still love that show very, very dearly.
Yeah, of
Class,
course.
I've seen one episode of. So
Yeah, I mean, that one, that's completely up to you if you want to continue with that. Because I know I I personally don't mind it, but it's not something I'd, if I was given a choice of something to rewatch, I probably wouldn't, dive back into it. But yeah,
yeah,
it's very intriguing to learn about when people jumped on with the show and obviously what their viewing habits were like back then. And then obviously we get onto the stuff about Classic Who because obviously there must have been a point where Troy was like, "Oh, I'm a bit intrigued about Doctor Who's past." Did you ever jump on with Classic Who or?
no, no,
Oh,
no.
oh,
I know a lot of information, like loosely, of like character names and stuff, mainly from like the Doctor Who Battles in Time trading cards, because I used to get all those when I was a kid. Like there were things like that, like merchandise where I'd soak up information and like Doctor Who Adventures magazine and stuff. But it's always been something that I said I was going to do and then not quite done. There was a point in time where I was saying on the podcast with Crispy that we were going to go back and watch it and we were going to make it an episode, and then he kind of did his own little thing watching some of it. So we're not in sync there in that way. I have seen the first 2 episodes of An Unearthly Child
yeah,
and all of the Time Warrior.
okay.
And I think the first part of the Twin Dilemma and Time and the Rani. That's it. So
Oh,
I've seen
really?
little bits of things,
Yeah,
but like mainly just like clips on YouTube, things like that. I feel like I know quite a lot of the Doctors well from just everything I've seen, like either in Modern Who, like characterizing them for better or worse for some of them, and then like expanded media, like magazines, things like that. I've picked things up, but I
yeah.
definitely need to go back in and soak in some proper classic Who.
Okay, I mean that's completely fair. I mean, there's quite a few people I know that haven't really dived too deep into the Classic Who catalog,
Has that
and
surprised you?
yeah, I mean it did a little bit, but at the end of the day, yeah, like there's a fair few, especially the earlier stuff, which is unfortunately not available because of the
Yeah.
BBC wiping the archives and stuff. But are there any episodes that you've seen or heard mentions of where you're like, oh, that's interesting, and you might watch that at some point?
That was what I did with the Time Warrior. I
Yeah.
remember hearing that, like that was the debut of Sarah Jane, and that intrigued me, and also Sontaran, so that was why I dipped in and watched that. Um, Honestly, I'm really intrigued to watch Colin Baker. because it's like he's the guy that, whenever you see a Doctor ranking, you're like, oh, he's going to be at the bottom of it or the near bottom, and then you get loads of people who are saying he's underrated. And I'm like, I have no doubt that he's an underrated Doctor just from the way Colin Baker is as a person. He seems like a lovely guy, and I'm like, I would like to see what his Doctor's like. So something in there, I think I would definitely dive into more. That and Tom Baker. Oh, I've seen some of Robot as well. Meant to say that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, like just a bit of Tom, a bit of Colin. That's who I'd like to focus on mainly. I think the first thing.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair, and especially with Tom as well. You've got a lot of stories because he's the longest running Doctor, 7 years worth of content there to explore, which I'm sure you'll get a variety of some episodes. But
adjusting my camera because I realized it was a bit too high up. I realized my ceiling light was coming into the frame, which it isn't meant to be doing.
It's all good. It's all good. Technical error. That's
exactly.
That's what...
Yeah. I just don't want it made it like there was a halo above me, and I know I'm a nice guy, but I didn't want to ram it down your face. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it'll be for people that don't know you, they'll get a good first impression.
I don't know. Hopefully.
But let's move on to the next segment. So yeah, you started watching it series 3, and you got hooked then and went back and watched the earlier stuff. And I'm guessing from series 4. I'm assuming that you continued watching post series 4, series 5, and all that.
Yeah, I the only thing I remember was with series 7B at one point. I kind of zoned out in a couple of episodes. I wasn't fully paying attention to them, and I can't for the life of you tell me why. It wasn't like I wasn't enjoying it, because I know people don't like series 7B, but I like it. I think it's got some good episodes in there. So I remember that weirdly. But apart from that, no, I've literally watched everything as soon as it's come out. I've been on board like the whole way through, even when Jodie's era was first on and I wasn't really as hooked on it. I was still watching it every week. Like I don't think I'd ever be able to stop watching every new episode as it comes out. I don't think it'll ever be something I manage to stop doing.
No, I completely get that, and I feel like I've had that. To be fair, I think I had that around about a similar time where I just wasn't really that invested. I think it was to do with when because they used to split the series in half, because obviously series 6 had that as well.
That was annoying, to be fair. I wasn't the biggest fan of that. It worked better for series 7, I think, because it had an actual like shift in characters, etc. But series 6 just kind of felt like it was in there. What was in there for Moffat's sake, really, to split things up.
Yeah, and
it's a bit of a shame.
Like for me at the time, it's just like, I just wanted to consume it all. I guess that was just me being greedy, but I feel like at the time, I kind of drifted a little bit. But then when it came to the 50th, obviously, it was announced David Tennant was coming back. We had a previously unseen Doctor as well, which was, John Hurt smashed it. And that was,
Absolutely.
really, really cool to see. But I'm going off on a tangent. Do you have a favorite episode from the show? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, you have, man. I think just from like there's a few different answers I can give here. For like absolute peak of writing and like an actual perfect story, I'd either go Heaven Sent or World Enough in Time, Doctor Falls, probably the latter.
Yeah.
For like nostalgia's sake, feel good, and just being a really good episode, I love Stolen Earth Journey's End. They stand out as well. And for an underrated one that I loved as a kid, there's a couple I loved as a kid. One my mum and I both hold very dearly, which is Love and Monsters, which I know is a hot take.
I love that one.
I love that episode. I really, really do. I think it's so goofy and so camp, but I adore it.
Yeah.
And also, when I was a kid, not necessarily favorite episode, but one I watched the most was Lazarus Experiment.
The Lazarus Experiment. Wow.
That and Tooth and Claw are both kind of like, monster stories where there's like there's a transformation. I was just like, I guess as a kid, I was fascinated by like people turning into monsters and there being like chaos ensuing from that. But I remember Lazarus Experiment, whenever it was on the TV, I'd always stop whatever I was doing to watch it.
Yeah, like
spoke to me.
Yeah, the Lazarus Experiment. That's one I haven't really rewatched a lot, to be honest. But from what I remember, there was a lot of setup for the finale in that, because there was the whole thing where Martha's mom suddenly hated the Doctor. There's the whole Vote Saxon shenanigans. Yeah, that was a really good episode. And definitely something that, to be honest, mentioning it, I really do need to rewatch.
It's not like it's the best episode of series 3, not by a long shot. And it probably, if I was towards them, it probably would still end up coming out quite near the bottom, realistically.
Yeah.
But I just think like it's just a cute little episode that's tucked away that I don't feel like gets talked about as much. But I don't know. I think it's quite good.
That's a fair enough shout. And I do want to throw this one in as well, because you've listed a a lot of good episodes there, that you've
Mm.
enjoyed, and I guess it's hard to pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely get that. But are there any that scream out to you where, say if it came up on like a rewatch list, say if you're doing it for a video for the podcast or whatever, is there an episode where you're just like, oh, I just can't be bothered? Just like something that just, doesn't really suit your taste.
I wouldn't skip an episode in a rewatch, but I would say right now, Fear Her. That
Yeah.
episode, it's so funny because Love and Monsters is the one that people rail on more, but Fear Her is. I know what they were going for. I get it. Like it's fine, but I don't like. It's just. I don't like chest hair 10. I've put that on the record before. That is just really bizarre.
That's something I've actually forgotten about till now.
Well, sorry to bring it back to you. It's so funny as well because like one of the first proper shots of it was when he goes, "I've been experimenting with backcombing." I'm like, "Well, no one's looking at your hair right now, mate. They're looking at your chest. What is going on here?" It's just a very strange choice.
Yeah.
But, no, it was an interesting villain concept, but I just don't. I don't think it was the most well executed episode. It just was very forgettable to me. So that stands out. People sometimes say like the Crimson Horror and stuff. I think that one was quite interesting. Bit goofy.
Yeah,
maybe one too many little sex gags with the sonic screwdriver. But apart from that, I think it was good fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Fear Her. Yeah, to be honest, I feel like that as well. And it was a weird one as well because like the villain, concept, it was very intriguing, but I feel like the way it was executed, I don't know, it just didn't really gel well with me, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of felt like the episode was over 10 minutes early, and then it was suddenly like, oh, the dad's coming back again, and then they had to kind of like everything, it all settled in, so it was like, oh no, we're going again, and it was like, oh, okay, it's strangely paced, I think is the best way. And there was just like cringy commentation about it's hope, like the Olympic flame and all that, and I was like, oh mate, come on.
But it's weird to think now that episode is technically a historical.
I don't even. Was it you who was tweeting that? Someone was tweeting recently being like, at what point does it count as a historical episode? And I was like, I don't even want to consider Fear Her being historical. But I mean, it was set 11 years ago now. It's crazy to think.
I know, it's weird to think that episode and Dalek as well are now historical episodes.
Oh, wasn't that set? Was that set in? It wasn't set in 2012. When was that set?
I thought it was 2012 in Utah, wasn't it? I feel like it is. And then again, I could easily be wrong.
It might be 2012. I just feel like it might not have been the same. It's coming up with Dalek figure sets. When I said when was Dalek set? Oh, it is in 2012. You're right. I was gonna say it was the same thing, but I was like, I swear it was slightly later. But no, it is 2012. You're right. You got me there.
Yeah. So 2 historical episodes that weren't historical at broadcast. Wow.
Oh God.
Wow. But let's move on to the next segment of the podcast. And I've seen on the socials that you've been to a fair few conventions.
Yeah.
You've gone to a fair few Comic Cons. Has there been well, I'll separate this question into 2. What's the best convention that you've been to so far?
Oh, that's tough. I think the thing that separates the cons really is the company that runs them.
Yeah.
I've gone on record before and saying that I don't think the ones run by showmasters who do like London Film and Comic Con them have not been the best organized. I remember going to the first one with Jodie Whittaker for them and having a lot of problems with how they organized the Jodie Whittaker stuff. It was
that the November one last year?
No, it was February in 2020.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like the very first one she did, and the very first one Mandip did as well. Yeah. They grossly underestimated how popular Mandip would be because she was put with all the people that were like kind of getting autographs but not at a quick rate, and there was a queue for her going across the convention. It was hilarious. Like the next day Jodie wasn't there, so they put her in Jodie's booth, so at least they adapted it, but the queuing system was not great. That's the whole thing. They did improve on it, I will say. When I went back again, I noticed things were improved, so that's one thing. But yeah, I think it comes down to the vibe because like MCM Comic Cons for me are like the best ones of capturing the Comic Con vibe.
Yeah,
because they focus more on it being a convention and not on the guests. You do get guests with them and often some big ones, but like it feels like they're more of an afterthought in the best way possible than other conventions. Whereas like Wales Comic Con, I think is a good middle ground for both. There's a lot of guests and a good convention feel. So it depends really on where you pick. I don't really have a particular con I dislike, even though I've said obviously Showmaster's not been perfect. Like I said, they've got better. I think it depends on the kind of vibe you want to go for. If you want an actual proper convention vibe, though, I think MCM is probably the best one to go for. And I'm saying that as someone who hasn't been to an MCM con in like 2 years, so I really need to go to one.
Yeah, I had my first MCM one in May, and I think the only guest I saw was I always forget her name. It's Veronica Taylor, the voice actress for Ash Ketchum in the
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Pokemon anime, and yeah, it was lovely seeing her. But yeah, I remember there was a lot more variety in stalls and activities and stuff to do compared to other conventions, which
Yeah.
was yeah, it was really good to see. And I've always wanted to engage with like the more of like the activities at a Comic Con and stuff like that. Because yeah, like stuff like Showmasters, there's more emphasis on guests.
Yeah, they
And
want to pull a lot of big names, and then sometimes they have a bit too much demand than they expect, and it kind of suffers for it, which is a shame. But they do amazing. What they manage to employ their guests is still absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, I'm going to the next one in November because they've got Ian McDermott there. I'm already booked, so
oh, nice.
I'm very excited to meet him. I've loved the Emperor since I was a little kid, so I am just like so into that. I'm going to try and put together a Jedi Survivor cosplay for that if I can, but it depends on whether I can afford it
That would be
realistically.
cool. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I'm ginger already, so I'm perfect for Cal Kestis. You know what I mean? I can nail that hopefully.
Exactly. You've just got to get the outfit there, and then
I've got the lightsaber,
oh,
so
you got the lightsaber. Well, there you go. That's
yeah,
like the
yeah.
harder parts are already.
The expensive part, you mean?
Yeah, well, yeah,
God,
the expensive parts. Yeah.
oh God, I
Do,
really
do, do you
regret the way
care
I
to
spend on
share how much
lightsabers
that
sometimes.
lightsaber cost?
Oh, I don't think I want to admit to that. You can look it up on the Disney store if you want to. It's the proper collector's one. It's in a box.
Okay, I think that probably paints an image in my head of
It's at the end
how.
of my bed. I mean, I could literally get it out if you want to see it, but you know.
Yeah, okay, I'm up for that. Just
We're
to
gonna get
see.
all right. Screw it. Why not? Why not? I mean, people are only going to see my Spider-Man pajamas, but it's not like I don't wear PJs on my podcasts anyway. So what's the
I
problem?
mean, I'm wearing
All right.
Deadpool PJs
Why
right
not?
now, so
This is. I was not planning to get this out on the podcast, but it's fine.
hey,
All
we
right.
always love a bit of improv.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that this is moved out of the way so you can. Oh, I can't move the show any further. Whatever. Okay. If I get this out, I will show you, and we can have a look. It's literally numbered and everything. I got it on May the 4th as a treat for myself, and
Hey,
it's the coolest. It's the coolest thing I own, man. It's so good. Oh, let me put my headphones on just for a sec so I can hear you while I properly show this because I cannot currently hear you.
oh, hello, hello.
It,
Oh, that is incredible. That
mm-hmm.
is incredible. Wow.
It's gorgeous, man. It is. I don't know if I take this one. They have put one up of like a single one from Survivor, and I'm like, I'm selling a whole bunch of pops at the minute because in case it's not obvious, I have far too many of them. And I was like, I might use them to buy the single one just to not take this because if this gets damaged, I will
Oh,
be
yeah, yeah.
heartbroken.
Yeah, exactly. Collector's item. Yeah, you don't want
Oh,
that being
it's
damaged.
gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Honestly, I'm talking about a lump of metal. I am so pathetic.
Hey, we're all nerds here, man. We're all nerds here.
I can put the blades if you want to see that while we're on the thing. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
God.
yeah. If you don't mind, of
This
course.
was
Yeah, I
not.
appreciate that.
I swear I'm not a big flexer, but we're talking about it, so why not? Oh, let's get them out real quick. Woohoo. I am struggling here in case it's not obvious. There we go. The problem with the UK sellers, the Disney stores, they don't sell the blades individually, so you have to get them from a reseller, which makes it very difficult to get hold of them. But when there's a will, there's a way. I managed it. Now I'm just going to try and get this in. There we go. That's in one end. I've got to be careful. This thing literally goes the width of my room. It's hilarious.
What?
And that's in there. There we go. All right. And which one's the right switch? That's the button, which means... There we go. Right, you ready?
Yeah, go on.
Let me go around this way so you can see it better.
Oh.
Oh, hang on. There we go. I'll see.
Wow.
Let me change the colours because yellow doesn't show as well. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay, so that's white. So you can see it changes colour. So in case it's not obvious, like Doctor Who is not the only thing that I waste money on.
That's completely understandable.
Gonna see. Can I just prop this up here like that in the background? There we go. I'll put it away later. It's gonna be so funny because if someone jumps ahead in the podcast now, they're gonna go, "What the hell is that behind him? Where did that come from?"
Yep, it's just a random lightsaber, just chilling in the background.
It's literally like the angle it's at right now. I can't leave my room unless I limbo under it.
That is, blimey, that I didn't expect it to be that. Yeah.
Well, I did make a problem for myself because there are different lengths of lightsaber blade that you can buy, and I was like, it's got to be the longest one, right? That's got to be the one that the rest of them are at. Because I normally get the Hasbro ones that like come with the blade and everything, and I was like, it's got to be the longest blade. It's not the longest blade. I made a mistake.
Oh wow, wow.
The thing's
But
heavy enough as it is, so adding heavy blades on top of it is just like
yeah, that is crazy. But whilst we're on the topic of conventions, I've also seen that you've done a fair bit of cosplaying as well.
mm.
What's been your favorite cosplay to do so far?
Oh, I'm gonna be evil. I'm not gonna say a Doctor Who one. I'm gonna say Ellie from Last of Us Part 2 because that was one
Oh,
that I loved putting together. I don't know if you have images showing on the podcast, but at the very least, I could put one up on my screen if I can find one.
yeah, of course.
But I've done several. I've done 12th Doctor and 13th Doctor. 12th Doctor I love because it was the Land kind of like frock coat thing that I absolutely love, the kind of the grey textured one. And 13th Doctor was nice for me because I'd owned Jodie's coat for a while and
Yeah.
not really done anything with it. And it was nice just to actually like get some use out of it. And I think it actually looked quite good, the cosplay. So I was quite happy about that. But Last of Us Part 2 is one I wanted to do for like a while. So I was really glad to have put it together. Here we go. This image will do. I need to shrink it down a bit, but at least it'll be on the camera and it saves you the editing job.
Hey, I love that.
But there you go.
That is
So
incredible.
that was that. It was the tattoo mainly because I'm someone who like I just can't commit to a tattoo. I'd be terrified of like a month later waking up and going, I don't like this. I wish I hadn't got it. But I love that arm tattoo. Like I've had quite a few temporary ones since of it. I just think it's absolutely brilliant.
No, it
And
looks incredible. And to be honest, I love the game, to be honest. I know it's a bit
oh, it's
controversial
so
to say about part two, but I do love it. I do.
I like it more than part one in some ways. Okay.
Yeah, same here. Even with part one getting a remaster or remake for the second time,
Yeah,
you
the
know.
remake of part one is gorgeous. It
Yeah,
was more warranted than I think some people say. I mean, there are other games that need remasters, but like they actually did a really good job with remaking that. I think it was a good call, personally. I really like what
yeah,
they did with it. But
yeah, exactly. And I feel like it makes it more on par with part two. Obviously, there's certain things that we're still missing gameplay wise, but I
mm,
feel like it made it feel a little bit more seamless. So when you finish part one, you can just dive into part two, and
yeah.
yeah, it's certainly helps with the age factor. But there is one cosplay of yours that I did really like that I saw you post on your socials recently was Clementine from Telltale's Walking
Oh
Dead.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That was so much fun as well. I
and
loved
I've
that.
given that a shout because I've recently started replaying those games. I haven't touched them in a really long time. And I don't even think I played the final season.
You
But
haven't played. Oh mate, what?
I know. I tuned out at season three, and the Final Frontier was that one. I think it's.
Oh, New Frontier. Yeah, I can't blame you on that because that one isn't quite as strong. I will back it, but no,
But
it's
yeah,
the final
I've
season is so good, mate. It's
I've
so good.
started replaying them, and it was literally when I was halfway through season one, and then I happened to check. I think it was Instagram, and I was like, yeah, I really dig that. I really do. And Clementine is such a really cool character.
I'm currently trying to find a picture of the cosplay, and I'm struggling. I
Yeah,
wanted to show it, yeah, because I had a hat from when the final season came out. I just saw someone on Etsy was selling it, and I thought, oh no, I've got to keep that as like a collector's piece. But I ended up using it for the cosplay, which I thought was lovely. Here we go. There we go. I don't think it's quite a high resolution, but there you go.
yeah, that's
I was
amazing cosplay.
it was really fun as well for me, just like budget hunting all the pieces because like everything was dirt cheap. I mean, shout out Primark for having some really good stuff for a really good price because it made it much easier to put together. But yeah, it's good fun. I love doing the cosplay stuff. I just like for me personally, it's the ones that are kind of like not quite casual cosplay, but ones you can achieve a bit more. That like I'm not gonna paint my face for something. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, of
like
course.
I don't like I've been suggested like you should do wigs and things for that, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna use my normal hair. It's just more the dress up thing for me that I enjoy. That's like the big draw.
No, that's completely understandable. Are there any cosplays that you want to do in the future, which you've had your eye on for a while and you've been tempted to do?
Well, if I'm gonna go for the cheap answer, I'd say Cal Kestis again, because that and
Yeah.
Clementine were the two that I was like aiming for. Beyond that, I really want to do 14th Doctor. I've got his Converse. I got them like around the time they were filming, so I wanted to make sure I had a pair, but the suit and the coat are going to be so expensive to get hold of, and I just do not have the money for that.
I
Like,
mean, that's actually the first cosplay thing I've got, but I actually haven't
oh
got the
wow,
Converses yet. I got it
oh,
from Cos Daddy, and
oh, okay, that yeah, because I was going to say that might be a more affordable place to get it. What's their outfit like? Was it good?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, I'm probably not the best to compare it to other cosplay
No,
areas
that's
because,
fair.
like,
Like in terms of like screen accuracy, it looks quite good. Like in terms of
yeah,
like,
I'd say so. Yeah. And again, like I thought it was, pretty screen accurate.
mm,
Um, and yeah, it fit okay as well. I was a bit worried because obviously, like international shipping and all that, and I've
yeah.
ordered stuff international like clothes-wise before, and it hasn't fitted 100%, but it was very comfortable, very comfortable.
I'm using a camera that has my Twitch alerts on. I didn't realize. I'll just turn those off real quick. I was
Well,
like, why
shout
is
out to
David
that,
turning that?
shout out to that person that's just followed you.
Yeah, no, it's my Twitch follow notification is the ding thing from Day of the Doctor. So it's just a
That
machine that
is.
goes ding. So I've got Doctor Who alerts all over my Twitch. It's great.
Oh, I love that. I love that. But speaking of your YouTube and Twitch,
Mm.
I'm intrigued. What inspired you to start making content? Or, what inspired you to make your channel?
God, back when I was, how old was I? Hang on, let's make myself feel really, really old. I must have been 2014, so I would have been 15 years old. Oh my God. It was honestly by chance. Like I'd only just started getting into watching like gaming YouTubers and stuff because I mean this was back in the olden days where people didn't have unlimited broadband. You had like limits, and we used to have a 2 GB a month limit for internet. Which if you think now, that is like it's insane. Like
Yeah.
most game updates would break that in a minute, let
Oh
alone a
yeah.
month. It's crazy. But we just got unlimited internet like the Easter of that year, and then someone was talking to me about it in I think July, like just before summer, saying they were going to get a capture card to record games and make like funny moments. And I was like, "What's a capture card?" And like this guy taught me through it. Like if it wasn't for this kid, like he was a couple of years younger than me as well. But if it wasn't for him talking to me about it, none of this would have happened. Which is what's so funny to me. But he described like how it works, and you like record your gameplay, and you can make videos out of it. And I was like, "Oh, I want to do that. That sounds really fun." I got into like Vanos Gaming at the time. If you ever watched him,
Yeah.
and I was
Yes.
like, "I can do that." I couldn't do that, but I still got into that whole thing. I got a capture card, got a laptop, and went on from there. And I spent about 2 or 3 years just doing like random video gaming stuff, thinking I was cooler than I was a lot of the time. And eventually, what basically happened was I was at the end of my A levels, and I was playing a lot of Payday 2 on Xbox. And Payday 2 is known for having terrible console support. Like none of the
Yeah.
YouTubers would touch it because the updates were just nowhere near as frequent or anywhere near as up to date as PC.
Yeah.
And because I was playing on Xbox, I was like, oh, they're releasing a new update. And it was like the day before my psychology A level, something I'm pretty sure it was like right around that time. And they were like, we're releasing an update. And I went, I'll talk about it in a video. And it got like 5,000 views, which was far more than I got on anything else. And I was like, okay, I found my niche and just went Payday after that. And it's never really changed that much since. So it's kind of funny. It was kind of a lot of meandering around for a few years. And then I kind of found a path and just went for it. It's a good job I still like Payday because I have a problem. Otherwise, like I said, they're a very loyal audience. I have tried to do the things in between and
Yeah.
they just don't take off as well. But I mean, it's nice just to have something that people enjoy watching, right? Like you got to be grateful for what you got.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, yeah, Payday as well. I've dipped in and out of that community over the years,
Mm,
and I've really enjoyed, seeing various videos over the years, and it's yeah, it has got a very loyal audience, and I feel like it's going to definitely expand with Payday 3 because
mm.
gameplay wise, it looks phenomenal. Like I was curious about how they'd, top it, but I can't lie. I am very, very intrigued with Payday 3.
Yeah,
I've got to say.
it's been a lot of fun to kind of get my hands on. And I mean, just like obviously I feel every time I say something cool has happened, I always feel very conscious of flexing. It's not something I want to do, but like because of the relationship I had with the developers that I've ended up like partnering with them, just getting early information on things, and they flew
Yeah,
me out to Sweden to play it in June,
that is really
which
cool.
was like that to me. That is like if someone asked me to pick the one thing that's come out of all this stuff that is like the standout, it's that. Like I never thought a company would pay for me to fly to another country to play a game. That is bloody insane to me. But it's just so fun to kind of be like to have a game to be excited for with that franchise because they've talked about Payday 3 for so many years. It's been like it was first like announced like 7 years ago, and it's been like a
Oh no.
rumor and like little bits of details ever since. But it's nice to actually be talking about it so much, especially these last couple of months. It's been a lot of fun, and it seems like most people are really excited for it, which is good. I think it's going to be a really good launch. I'm quite excited for it to be real.
And do you have any? goals with your channel moving forward? Because obviously, yeah, Payday 3 launching, that's what your channel's centered on. So I imagine, yeah, you're probably gonna get a huge influx of like, views and stuff. Do you have any goals centered around that or
That's the hope. I mean, when I started it, I always had the dream that I would love to get to 100k subs. Like
yeah.
I like to me, like this is gonna sound so cringy. Growing up, I never really did anything where I get like a physical like trophy for something. You know,
Yeah.
I was never really into sports and like the kind of like nerdy stuff I did. There wasn't really like any kind of thing. And it's not even like something to show off. It's like I wanted to have something physical where I could look and go, I earned that, and like
Yeah.
like almost get a sense of pride. And I was like, a play button from YouTube would be iconic. So it's like if I ever
Yeah, of
get to
course.
100k subs, that would be beautiful. Whether it'll happen or not, I don't know. I mean, it took me a long time to get to 30k subs, and maybe with Payday 3, we'll see a massive increase. It's happened to other people I know, so you never know.
Yeah, you
But
do
that's
know.
like a
Oh,
nice
yeah.
kind of like dream goal almost. Whether it happens or not, I guess we'll see. But just enjoying the attention for the time being, and hoping that people just keep coming back and watching the stuff I put out. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, and I really do hope it goes well for you because Payday 3, it does seem like a really cool game. And for those that are tuning in, watching, or listening, however you're consuming the podcast, be sure to check out Payday 3 because it is
Mm.
releasing in under a month. And yeah, there's a lot of replay value in the Payday games, and there's some hilarious moments that can happen. And
Oh yeah. And I'm not paid to say it, but I will say if anyone's on Xbox and isn't sure, it is on Game Pass when it comes out day one, so you can try it if you're a member of that. So that's something. Which is I also think is really
yeah,
exciting, especially because Payday 2 didn't have the best time on consoles. It like the console audience are a little bit untrustworthy,
yeah.
rightfully so. So it's a nice way for at least one half of them to get in and try it without any extra costs involved and be like, oh, this is a good step forward. It's exciting. I'm really keen to see what they do with it.
Yeah, exactly. And like as we just discussed before, recording, Starfield as well is also launching on there,
Oh yeah.
which yeah, it's something that I am now gonna try because yeah, I really want to play that game.
Like the fact that like again it's on Game Pass, so I basically own the game as is. It's installed and ready to go, but I'm genuinely considering buying the deluxe upgrade purely to get it 5 days earlier. I don't know if I want to wait to the 6th. I mean, I can stream it on Twitch then as well,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
because I feel like there'll be more eyes on it if we actually stream it like on the early access thing. So
Yeah.
I may do that as well. But it's so exciting to think that that whole thing is coming before Payday 3, and Payday 3 is less than a month away. Like there's a lot happening.
Yeah, there is. And then October, there's Marvel Spider-Man as well.
Oh, Spider-Man 2, baby. I cannot wait.
Sonic
I cannot wait.
Superstars
Yeah,
as
Sonic
well.
Superstars next month. And there's the final update for Frontiers in September as well, which is like,
Blimey.
oh, just, man,
There's
man.
there's a lot of stuff going down. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to it because over the years I feel like I haven't played as much games, but when there's been a game that's come out that I really wanted to play, I've just put in the hours to,
Yeah.
to really dive in. But I feel like this year, especially, there's just been so many games that have been coming out that I wanted to play. And
100%.
I am looking forward to just really, really just grinding through some hours, and especially with stuff like Starfield as well. Like I love Bethesda's RPGs, like Elder Scrolls, Fallout. Oh,
Oh, the amount of hours I put into Skyrim. Like, it's bad when you got to the point where my mum would walk past me as a kid, see I'm doing like a new character on Skyrim, and she'd recognize the opening and be like, "Have you started another game in Skyrim?" I'm like, "Yep." Like she actually like was able to like visually know when the game was starting, and when she'd walk past, be like, "Again?" I'd be like, "Yeah, again. We're doing it again," because
yeah,
I did it so
wow,
many times.
wow. I mean, yeah. To be fair, I think the amount of hours I've put into Skyrim across, I think every single platform that it's been released
Yeah,
on. Yeah,
it's released quite a few times. It's been a little bit mad. I've
yeah.
had it. I think I've had like 4 or 5 copies of the game, like just one way or another. It's insane to think.
It is. It really is. But hey, you never know. Starfield in years to come might end up getting the Skyrim treatment where you could be playing on the.
Starfield Special Edition. God, oh my goodness. I hope they do actually have console mod support. That's not even something that they've said, I don't think. But that would be
Yeah,
interesting. They've had that with Skyrim and Fallout 4, so it would make sense.
yeah, it would, especially with it being like a well, it's not even next gen now, is it? A current gen support as well.
Mm,
It would be nice to, maybe get upgraded capacity and stuff like that. It
yeah.
would be a bit cool to see more mod support. But anyway, let's talk about something that you're well known for, and that is Limitless.
Oh God.
So,
Oh no, I forgot. I've seen the questions that you had planned. I forgot that was coming up.
so what was it like being on a game show? Like for those that have always been intrigued, what it's like for contestants. What was it like partaking in something like that?
It was the craziest thing, honestly. Like I've enjoyed game shows since I was a kid, and I've also loved Saturday Night Takeaway since I was a kid. So like I've loved Ant and Deck for as long
Yeah,
as I can remember. So them doing this show Limitless Win was like a really cool mesh for me. And it was also just a really interesting concept of like you could in theory win as much money as you could possibly want. There's not really a cap. I mean, there's technically like artificial ones from the way the game runs based on your lives and stuff, but the concept of you can go as far as possible is a really cool thing. And I just remember joking with my mum about like, oh, we should apply. That'd be quite funny. And then she just did it, and it was like, huh, that's funny. Like, wouldn't it be nice if that went somewhere? And then several months later, there we are in London filming the bloody thing, and it was just
wow.
it was a absolute whirlwind. Like just from applying to getting on there, it was so much fun. But it was so cool to get a glimpse behind the scenes. Like I'm someone who wants to try and get more into the entertainment industry, like TV and
Yeah,
radio and stuff, and getting to see how some of that works behind the scenes and how they film things. And it's also just interesting, like from a YouTuber's perspective, especially someone who's done, because I've done like movie trailer edits and things like that before, and like film stuff in games. So I kind of have a little bit of a appreciation for like the director side of things. I'm not an
yeah,
expert by any means, but seeing them be like, oh, we're gonna do this, 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 and this, and then in the show it'll be this, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I've done that kind of thing before. That was
yeah.
just really fascinating to me as well. But the whole experience I just absolutely loved. But I imagine you're gonna ask me about one thing in particular, so I'll hold off on that until you do.
Well, okay. Well, I may as well get that one out of the way then. So,
Come on, then.
what was your reaction seeing to David Tennant eating your face on the cake?
Yeah,
What's that?
I leave the cake out half the time. I think it's funny to say eating my face. In fact, isn't that what is my Twitter bio? I'm just gonna check. Does it still say that? Yeah, it does. David Tennant ate my face on Limitless Win once. Yeah, I don't even say a cake. It's just funnier to leave the cake out. I mate. So for anyone who's not seen the clip, it is on the Who's There podcast channel, not to self-promo, but you can go and watch the full thing on there for the context. But the idea was I don't even know how, because people thought my mum was in on it. She didn't have a blooming clue. I think we must have mentioned at some point in the audition phase the story of the cake, which was that when I was like 6 or 7, like 7 or 8 must have been, not long after getting into Doctor Who, my mum bought me a David Tennant birthday cake,
Yeah,
and neither of us would eat David Tennant's face off the cake. We were like, we don't want to hurt. It's almost like, when you're a little kid, you get bought like a chocolate Santa, and you're like, I
yeah,
don't want to eat Santa's head. You don't want to feel like you're killing a Santa because kids are stupid. But like that, it was the same kind of energy. I was like, I don't want to eat David Tennant's face, and my mum must have thought it was just a funny joke to mention about Doctor Who. And we said it in passing, and it was like, oh, like that's just a thing we told them. I never even thought about it again. And when we were coming out to film it, they were like, oh, they may pick on certain things from like the audition. So if they ask you a question that we've asked you before, give them the same answer because it'll be something that they've found interesting, basically, was the gist. And we were like, okay. So they were like, who's your favorite Doctor? And I was like, I don't think I can answer that. And my mum obviously must have just thought, oh, maybe they're thinking about the cake story. So she brings that up.
yeah,
It was completely coincidental. That's what was so funny. Because that was the thing. It's like I said, especially CrispyPro, he was like, I was convinced your mum was in on it. And then I saw the reaction to David, and I was like, she must have been. I was like, nope, she didn't have a clue. And she explained the story, and he went, oh, wow, it's interesting that you like David Tennant because he likes you. And then there's a video of him eating a cake with my face on it. And I mean, you can see my reaction. I just couldn't, I don't think my brain comprehended it. And it struggled to for a while because we filmed that in October and the episode went out in February. So I had 4 months where I couldn't tell anyone about it.
Blimey. Yeah,
It was,
that's certainly a secret to be keeping.
yeah. I honestly, I don't know how I managed it. I really don't know. It was, and especially when you do a weekly Doctor Who podcast and you're sat on that bombshell, I was
Yeah.
like, I can't tell him because the reaction will be worth it. I can't tell him because the reaction will be worth it. And it was, but it was hard. It was really hard to keep that secret.
Because I remember you announced prior to the episode airing that you were obviously going to be appearing, and then that surprise of the cake, it was a surprise to all of us. I think when it aired, if I recall, you didn't reveal that beforehand.
TV Zone, I know, got, well, I mean, they sent a few things out to media because I wasn't sure what they were going to tell people and what they weren't. And I was almost a little bit disappointed because they literally announced that it was like, oh, David Tennant wishes Troy and his mum good luck on this episode tonight. And I was like, that was the surprise. I mean, they didn't say what it was, thankfully, but I was almost like, I kind of wish they hadn't said that much.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing that came out of it was TV Zone following me on Twitter because it was like the account that I report so many times on the podcast were like, oh, good luck. And the funniest thing about it was when they tweeted it out, they knew who I was, like without even having followed me, because they literally went, David Tennant wishes at Red Archer Live and his mum good luck. And I'd had no direct interaction with them. So I was like, they know they know who I am? Like, excuse me? It was so weird.
Yeah, it is a crazy story.
Genuinely, it's wild. It's so wild.
Oh, it really is. And, it's not every day you can say that David Tennant has ate your face. It's...
Nope. And I will never get to say that again. But I'm telling you now, next time there's a convention, I'm going to do something cake related. I haven't decided what. I kind of want a cake with a picture of him with the cake of me, like almost like a cakeception kind of thing.
Yeah.
That would be great. I might be really weird eating a cake in front of him, so I might just give him the cake and go, there you go. You don't need to eat it now in front of me, but I just want you, because he might, I don't know if he'll recognize me from it. He might not. You don't know. But
then again, eating a cake of someone for a game show, I feel like that might stick out in the memory a little bit.
It might stick with you a bit more. Fingers crossed. I hope he remembers it. I just, he meets a lot of people, no doubt. I don't know how much he would remember of individual interactions, but it would be a nice thought. It would be.
Yeah, it certainly would. But you mentioned about the podcast. So when did that idea first come about?
Like a lot of podcasts, it was down to COVID really that kicked it all off. It wasn't, that wasn't responsible for Who's There directly, but I started my own podcast at the time, creatively called The Redcast. I spent about 3 weeks trying to decide on a name. Nearly went for The Red Room until I realized that had very negative dark web connotations and went, okay, maybe not. Well, I was like, I was thinking Black Widow at the time, but I was informed and I went, okay, maybe not. But no, I did this podcast and it was mainly to interview Payday people because I thought it would be really good because I'd done interviews with people from Payday before, but it was a good way to like catch up, bring new people in. But every other episode I pulled in someone who wasn't Payday related. So I had someone come in who did like YouTube hoops. I don't know if you've ever seen the Schlock YouTube hoops, the Sherlock ones.
Oh,
the
yeah.
The guy who did those because I wanted to chat to him, and like there was a few different bits like that. But I was like, I really want to do a Doctor Who episode. And I was like, who can I bring in? And just at that time, I'd started to get into like Doctor Who YouTube. I didn't realize it had as much of a scene as it did. And I started watching Crispy's videos and I was like, this guy seems really cool. He'd be fun to chat to. I feel like we'd have a good energy. So I just dropped him an email and he was like, yeah, sure. I'll be on your podcast. Let's have a chat. And it might still be, I'm going to check. It might still be the longest episode we did, or that I did of that podcast, because we spent nigh on 2 hours chatting about Doctor Who. It was so much fun. That was before Revolution of the Daleks came out. Crazy.
Blimey, that was a long time ago.
That dates it a bit.
Yeah.
The episode came out in like October, October 2020, sorry. Let's have a look. 1 hour and 51 minutes it is. Does any other episode top it? I really hope not, now that I've said that. No, not for a good while. I think the next shortest episode is 1 hour and 36, and even then most are a lot less. So yeah, it was the longest episode. So like we chatted a lot about Doctor Who, and I kind of felt afterwards, I was like, there's legs for more than just this one episode. We could do more of it. And I also just like liked Crispy's energy. I was like, we should keep in touch and like do other stuff. I asked him a few times, and it was like in the middle of him not doing as much content. He was a bit of a rot and wasn't doing as much YouTube. So it was like, maybe not. And I happened to just ask him at the right time, at the end of 2021, as COVID was like beginning to lift and I was finishing up with uni. And he was like, let's do it. And it very quickly like snowballed into Who's There. And it was just a really kind of fortunate thing. And it's nice as well because, I know he said to me, so I know he won't mind me saying it, like he kind of credits the podcast in some ways with him coming back to YouTube properly, because it kind of got him into that weekly schedule again, which was nice for me because I was a fan of his before, like we even spoke on the podcast. It was nice to see him get back into the zone. And it's just cool to have someone to chat with about Doctor Who every week. I'm surprised we managed to keep it up with like there not being an episode now for like 10 months, but we've managed and it's been really fun.
Yeah, no, that's actually really cool to think about, because even with this year as well, because we're not getting anything until November, but obviously last year we got 3 specials as well, and we've had a lot of like gap years as well. It's really crazy to think about, like, Doctor Who YouTubers and content creators in general, when there's not anything on TV, you kind of struggle. And obviously you mentioned earlier when you guys started out, you've only really reviewed, was it Legend of the Sea Devils and Power of the Doctor?
Yeah, we started, I think, in middle of February, I think it was. The first episode. So it was not long after Eve of the Daleks, but like episode 9, I think, was Legend of the Sea Devils, and episode like 31, I think, was Power of the Doctor. I'm on like 70. Is it 73 that I'm editing for this week? I think it's 73. So like, we've barely had new episodes to talk about, which is crazy. But it's exciting to know that we'll have a bit more regular content, especially now they've confirmed it'll be spring for series 14 like that. That's nice to know that we'll have, like, it'll be good to actually have a new episode every week to talk about. That'll be such a strange thing, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it certainly will. Like, you've gone for so long just, doing like, episodes talking about different stuff regarding the show, but the fact that you're able to talk about the show itself with new episodes, that's going to be a strange feeling.
100%. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, like the people who turned out for Power of the Doctor, that was such a great like we did a live episode for that, and it was
Yeah,
so much fun. I mean, I've told the story a few times now where I got Jodie's coat out on the stream and just sat in it for like half the episode, and then I was really keen to get the episode out on audio platforms as soon as possible. So I just
yeah,
stayed up until like I think it was 4 in the morning editing it, and at one
yeah.
point it was like 3:30, and I was like, I'm still sat in Jodie's coat. Like, what am I doing? Like, I was in such a zone. I'd forgotten I was even wearing it. I had the hood up over my head and everything. It was
Yeah.
just such a beautiful night. And like, it's cool that just there being a new episode that brought everyone to the podcast like that. And I'm hoping that we get a similar input now for the 60th, because it's just fun to chat about new Doctor Who things, not just news, but actual episodes.
Yeah, because obviously, you picked the perfect time for the 60th.
Mm.
There's going to be, some potential nostalgic moments. There's going to be some shock value. You've got David Tennant coming back. You got the debut of Shooty as well, which I'm really, really excited
Oh,
for.
yeah, it's going to be amazing.
And yeah, you got Christmas special after that. There's going to be a lot of interesting conversations. But you've done a lot of episodes of the podcast. Is there an episode that you've recorded which, you've always, like you've really enjoyed recording and you might have even rewatched it at some point?
Honestly, probably the Power of the Doctor review. Like, that
Yeah.
is just such a special one of just like, I mean, for one thing, Crispy didn't see the teaser for David Tennant. They didn't broadcast it in Australia. So
Oh, really?
like getting him on the stream and then being like, what did you think of the teaser? And he was like, the what? And like getting him to react to that on stream, that was so much fun. But like I said, like just for us personally, and especially it was so funny because we had the podcast like wrapped for Spotify, and it was like, oh, one of your episodes did better than the rest. Can you guess which one? And it was like it did infinitely better, like the amount of people who turned up for it. So from like a podcast perspective, from like just what we got to talk about and the community coming together, it kind of has to be that episode. It was just something so beautiful that I really, really enjoyed. And I'm hoping, like I said, I hope we get to replicate that with the 60th, even like partially. It'll be amazing if we do.
Yeah. No, of course. And, there's a lot of potential, especially for what those episodes are, big anniversary episodes. There is a lot of potential.
Yeah,
But
Return the Absorber off really will be amazing. I can't wait for it.
oh, mate, honestly, I've been petitioning for that for years. Please make it happen, Russell. Please.
Oh, imagine. Oh, honestly.
I would love that. But yeah, you've had a lot of success with your own YouTube channel and your obviously the podcast. What advice would you give to people that want to start making content on YouTube?
Ooh, I think the best thing I can say is focus on what you want to do and what you enjoy.
Yeah.
I think it sounds so stupid, but I think it's very easy sometimes for you to kind of get wrapped up in maybe stuff that you don't enjoy as much. And I think you got to avoid that, because I've seen that happen with other content creators where like there's been some even in the payday sphere where they get used to making payday videos and they don't enjoy it anymore, but it's what pays the bills and they get stuck in that rut, and it's tough. And obviously it's very situational, but I think if you go into it looking at it as it's something fun and not as a job, because there's also that misconception where people go, I can't wait to be a YouTuber so I make loads of money.
Yeah.
I'll say right now, I've got 30k subs. I don't make anywhere near even minimum wage on YouTube. So it's really not something to think about. Like, you go into it because you enjoy it, not because you want to seek profit out of it. Do what you want to do, have fun with it. If something comes of it, amazing. If it doesn't, then that's the way it is. Unfortunately, you just got to hope for the best. I think it takes a time, it takes dedication. You got to do what you enjoy, and it also does take a bit of luck. I think definitely. But like the biggest thing, just focus on doing what you want to do, and also bear in mind that the stuff you start out with will always be cringy when you look back, and like it doesn't matter how old you are, when you start, whatever it is. You'll get to a point where you'll look back and go, what the hell was I thinking? And I do that with quite a lot of my old videos. 2014, 2015, Troy, you pick any of those videos, there'll be something bad to it. The first Payday 2 video I made has been mocked to no end, because I made one as a loose video before all the console stuff kicked off, and people have constantly gone back and gone, what was this? And I go, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It's there's a few videos in there you can find that are gold mines for cringe. So that will be unavoidable as well. But yeah. Focus on doing what you enjoy, and hopefully the rest will follow, I would say.
No, that's some really solid advice. And for those that are listening that want to get into content creation, obviously for those in the Doctor Who community as well, you picked the perfect time. Doctor Who's now a Disney princess as well. It's that there's going to be a lot more attention being brought to the show. So I feel like it is the perfect time if you want to join the community.
And I feel like there's a really good relationship between like YouTubers in general. Like I kind of felt a bit of, I don't know if it's imposter syndrome, but like getting into the like who's there without really having my own personal Doctor Who channel, because I have a separate one that's called Troy's Thoughts where I just put like random stuff up that isn't related to Payday, but my upload schedule is horrific, and it was never really all Doctor Who anyway. There's some Doctor Who stuff on there, but
Yeah.
I kind of felt a bit weird, like I was almost like scamming my way into the Doctor Who YouTube community, so I did feel a bit like anxious for a while. Like I know I saw Faris at Wales Comic Con in like around Sea Devil's time, so I'd barely doing the podcast, and I didn't even want to go up to him because I was like, I feel like I'm buttering my nose into community I don't even know that well. But the thing is, like, YouTubers are a very welcoming group. Like, there's a lot that I've spoken to now who like I get on with really well. I've made some good friends out of it, and it's just a lovely, lovely thing. I know you've had Luke on from DW 2012, like meeting him and Meg at Comic Con, meeting Faris properly once I actually didn't have like whatever it was, like the imposter syndrome, whatever. Like, there's a lot of really good people out there who I've really enjoyed meeting, and I feel like it's a very welcoming community for people who want to try Doctor Who content out. Like, there's a lot of support now, especially if you're based in the UK. And obviously, there's other people in other countries. They may struggle a bit more with local, but I mean, hey, Crispy's got Josh Snares and the 50% boys, so there's people around. There's people around. But
yeah, exactly, and that's also something as well. Especially with the Disney partnership as well, because there's going to be a lot more of a push for international broadcasting and stuff. And hey, there might be, for those who aren't based in the UK, there might be more, Doctor Who events and stuff like that, where, I mean, with D23, is that Disney Expo?
Yeah. I forget that's happening, isn't it? When is that coming up?
I feel like it's September, I think.
Why is everything happening in September? It is, the 8th
of
September.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Because like it might not happen this year, but maybe in years to come, like stuff like that's held internationally, Doctor Who might end up having a presence there, which would be really cool. It would be awesome.
I feel as though D23 is going to be rough this year with the writer strikes, right? And the actor strikes. They may not even be able to talk about much there, but having a show up, that could be insane.
Yeah,
and they could do it. We've seen Shooty holding like appearing and hosting bits of like Doctor Who press events for Disney Plus already. They're like not long after he'd even been cast, so it's definitely a prospect we could get. And I think it's fantastic just seeing it get like a proper out of UK home, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. Whilst I understand people have had some concerns because obviously there's been some issues with like Marvel and Star Wars in the past where people have criticized Disney's involvement and stuff like that. But I feel like
I won't comment on that.
Yeah, neither will I. But I do feel like there is definitely one good thing about that is that more people being introduced to the show, because that can only be a good thing. Which more fans, more creative people coming in, artists, content creators, fan filmmakers. There's a lot of potential there for Doctor Who's future.
Yeah, sure. I'm particularly excited, I think, for the US side of things, because like Doctor Who kind of broke out in America with Matt Smith, and there were a lot of US fans, but I don't know if the US audience is as big as it used to be. I mean, there's a lot of people that turn up for Gallifrey 1, but are they all American viewers? I don't know. I should ask Ivy, main protagonist, and see whether a lot of people she knows these days actually still watch Doctor Who in America, because I know it's still got a good chunk of people in the UK, but I wonder outside how much of a hot topic it is. So for especially US audiences, for it to be on Disney Plus, I'd love to see more Americans getting involved with the content creation. Whether people are like, "Oh, it's a British thing, leave it." I don't care. I just like
exactly. Like the more the merrier.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely. But got a very interesting question coming up now, and this is the debate question.
Oh dear.
So this debate question is marked by my audience. So at the end of the podcast's current run, there'll be like, a voting system and stuff like that. And the winner will receive a £50 Amazon voucher. So you're marked on how well, you've, answered and stuff like that. So imagine it's like an exam at school or something.
I have forgotten this question. I'm not going to look to remind myself. I'm just going to be caught off guard. Let's do it.
I'm going to hit you with it. So over the years, we've seen many monsters and villains return to Doctor Who, such as the Daleks, Cybermen, the Master, the Sea Devils. What monster would you like to return that hasn't returned, and why?
Well done to whoever's going to win the Amazon voucher because I'm not going to win it for this answer.
Loon.
Slovene, I've backed it so many times. I get the farting jokes. I think were a bit excessive
Yeah,
in especially the first two episodes. I get what Russell was going for, obviously, because politicians are talking out of their proverbial.
yeah,
But the idea of like these big hunky monsters that fit into human bodies and like they can be anyone. I mean, that's just someone who loves like Marvel stuff with Secret Invasion and things, even if that show wasn't quite what everyone hoped for. I
yeah,
just
true.
love the idea of aliens or monsters be like disguise themselves, like the shapeshifter vibe. I love that whole thing. And I just found the Slovene to be really interesting monsters that I enjoyed greatly. And I loved seeing them come back again in series one. And I was always upset that Doctor Who never went back to them after that. Like
Yeah,
Sarah Jane picked up the slack and had several stories with Slovene, Blatherine, and I loved every time they showed up. I just think that they're such an interesting monster, and you could really have them come up out of nowhere because of the
yeah,
whole disguise. I mean, that's what happened in Sarah Jane series one, right, with the Lost Boy. Like
yeah,
people did not think that Celine would come back in that series, especially once they got rid of the whole we have to be inside slightly bigger people to be
yeah,
Celine. They got rid of that thing, and it was like, oh wow, anyone can be one now. And that I thought was an amazing twist.
yeah,
And so as soon as you started seeing the zips, you were like, oh, Celine, what?
yeah,
That's such a good twist, and I'd
yeah,
love to see that happen again in Doctor Who. I
yeah,
mean, it depends on how they handle it. Because obviously, anyone who's not seen like Chris Eccleston or Sarah Jane might go, "What the hell is zip in the head? What am I? What goofy 1970s thing am I watching here?" Because it's
yeah,
not the most like inventive thing, I guess, but it's such a cool concept that I would love to see revisited. And with Russell back in charge again, I remember I commented once on one of his Instagram posts, being like, "Bring the Celine back, I'm begging you," and he liked it, but he likes everything. So at
yeah.
least he knows that one person out there is campaigning for the big green boys to come back because I want.
Exactly, exactly. And to be fair, you won me over straight away when you said Slovene because I have also wanted them back because
There you
I
go.
feel like as well there was more lore based around Raxacorica Falibatorius in the Sarah Jane Adventures, which I feel like would be cool to expand upon again because
Yeah.
we had the Blatherine, and it would kind of be nice to see like the other families and stuff and explore like
Yeah, the
what
family aspect
happened.
was so interesting to me. Yeah, because you think, well, like, do all the families look the same on the planet? Is it just that their skin color's different? Like, how does
Yeah,
that work? Or are the
yeah,
families just like country sized? Like, who knows? Like, I don't know. It could just be like a family of Slovene is as big as the UK. You haven't got a
yeah.
clue, really.
Yeah, and I feel like it would be cool to see what other families got involved with the criminal Scott side of things because it was mentioned that the Blatherine were mostly good, but then there was that that marriage that created the Slivine Blatherine and the Sarah Jane Adventures. So it would
I
be
had no idea one of them was Miriam Margolyes for the longest time. By the way, I was when
I
I realized
know
that I was like, oh my god.
I think I saw on Twitter after it was revealed that she would be having a role in the 60th, which I
Beat the
feel like
meat.
is
That was around
beating
the
the
time
meat.
I found out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, I was completely blown away. But
Poor Miriam.
I'm again looking forward to hearing her voice again. I feel like that will be amazing.
She'll be brilliant. But yeah, I'll go for the Celine every day of the week, whether it costs me the Amazon voucher or not. That's me. That's
Yeah,
me.
that is a completely fair answer. And again, obviously you won me over as soon as you said Slovene, but unfortunately I am not the deciding factor.
Hey,
So
I'll take a bonus £10 one if you got it handy, mate. I don't mind.
well, you never know. But
I'll
but
angle for what I can. I'll angle for what I can. You know what I mean?
that's the best way to do it. But obviously, audience, if you did like Troy's answer, let us know in the comment section down below. And yeah, you might make his day, and he might be able to get some stuff ready for
Oh, it's
November
banned the
Comic Con.
lightsaber. Don't worry about it. No, no. What have the other people said actually to have interest? Like any other notable answers so far? I haven't quite gotten
um,
far with any of the other episodes to hear people's responses.
so I've asked, because I've asked people, different questions, and they're literally just
Hmm.
being marked on, like how.
Oh, so it's not the same question for every person.
No, no, it's just like so they're getting marked on, like
Oh.
just like how spicy their takes are. So I asked Tharies if he'd like the Timeless Child to be brought back up in series 14 and stuff.
Oh god, I'm gonna have to listen to that. I
Yeah.
am fascinated to hear what he has to say about that.
And then I asked, I've actually got this one up here because I recorded it yesterday.
Oh.
I asked Channel Pup about his thoughts on because he obviously does Marvel content a lot,
Hmm.
and I asked what his thoughts are on Doctor Who going down the cinematic universe route and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, because that's
Ooh.
what I mean. Like, I want to ask spicy. I'm not
Yeah.
just asking people what their favorite Doctor is. I want to know, like, if you could do something with the show and like I might end up asking a question in the future, like if you had to wipe one episode from the archive, repeat history, which one would it be? Something like that, something to generate some controversy. But then again, Slovene fans, I'm pretty sure there's plenty out there.
There's got to be some of us out there. There's got to be.
I mean, I'm a Slovene stan, so let's let's rock and
Not a
roll.
phrase I thought I'd hear today. I'll give you that much. Really, not a phrase I thought I'd hear.
Well, that's another one to stick on the Twitter bio, I think. But anyway, let's move on to the couple of audience questions before we wrap up, because I've got a couple of questions for you. The first one is from Lewis. He said that he loves the podcast, Troy, but if Crispy regenerated into another YouTuber, who would you like your host to be, and why? Would there be a multi-Crispy special?
Oh god, that's evil. I don't know. It's weird. I couldn't really imagine doing it without him, because you kind of just become really good mates as a result of it. I don't.
I mean, I'm just trying to imagine in my head a multi-Crispy special. I'm just imagining
Monday Crispy and then like 2017 Crispy, where he was like, "It's the Broadchurch girl." Like, it should be those two together. Seeing those two clash, that'd be intriguing.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, I don't even know if I want to answer. I'd rather more say who I'd like on as a guest.
Yeah.
Next, YouTuber wise, and if I was going to say that, I'd either go for George Sheard, because I love that guy. I've been on his podcast already before. I get on with him. He's a lovely guy. Or Josh Nez.
Yeah.
They're just like for me, every time I see them tweet anything about Doctor Who, I'm just fascinated. I love just their takes and everything. And there's something really beautiful about there could be all sorts of stupid discourse on Doctor Who Twitter about any old thing, and they'll just go like, "It's just a magazine, babes," or it's just a TV show. Like they don't care at all, and I love that. I love that energy. So let's go with Josh, because then at least we're still Australian. Josh, yes, there you go.
Exactly. So it's not too much of a change with the whole regeneration there.
Exactly. I hope that if Crispy appears in here at some point, he struggles as well to pick someone. If he just suddenly goes, I don't know, Josh Carr, then I'll be sat here going, all right, okay, well.
He's just like, all right.
I like Josh, by the way. That wasn't a negative choice. That was a random pick. Love you, Josh, even though I don't like Arctic Monkeys as much as you do, but that's beside
shots fired.
Arabella's a good song, though. I'll give him that.
No, I mean, to be honest, I might also throw some heat here. I haven't really listened to a lot of Arctic Monkeys, so
have you heard of Pale Waves?
No. I know. I'm letting the side down on both sides of the argument.
They're literally behind me. They're right here. They're both Pale Waves pictures. So.
Oh, okay.
I always love whenever I get some, especially when I interview people for the Redcast, just getting them looking around the room. I've had that happen a few times. They're like, I'm just looking at what you've got on your walls. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot. It's like a visual assault, realistically.
All right. Well, I've got one more question from Geeks Assemble on Twitter. I've already asked you what it's like being on the Limitless game show.
Yeah.
But I'll just get the next part of the question. He has asked, did you manage to get a selfie with Ant and Dec whilst on there?
I really wish we had. There wasn't a chance to ask them, and once we finished filming, they had to go and film other stuff. I think they were doing another team or something like that. I did ask the staff afterwards, is there any chance we could get a picture with them? They were like, they haven't got time, which was upsetting, but I mean, we got to be on the screen with them. That's good enough. There's pictures of us together, just not in a selfie form, but that's good enough for me. I'll live. They facilitated David Tennant eating my face. I think I can take that and be happy. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. That's and to be honest, in the question on Twitter, he put the GIF from Smith and Jones, "We can have cake," when he's speaking to the plasma ball, and I'm like,
that's elite GIF use. That is elite.
That is, it's just so fitting as well. It is just so fitting, and no, it's. Yeah, just something that, again, as we said earlier, is something that you don't expect to happen. But, certainly something you'll never forget.
Yeah,
certainly not.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I'll always love telling people the story of it. I remember I met up with a friend I made recently in July, and she suddenly mentioned that she was into Doctor Who, and I was just like, oh yeah, Doctor Who's brilliant, blah blah blah. And then I was like, actually, there was a thing with David Tennant that I'd love to show you. And she was like, go on, I showed her the clip, and she literally just staring at my phone going, what the hell? Just the reaction I get is it never gets tiring to me. I love it so much. It's just it sounds cringy, but it literally is. That's a story to tell the grandkids. That's something.
Yeah, no, it is.
This is mental, right? It's crazy.
And plus, it's funny that you mentioned grandkids. Doctor Who has been around for that long, and when it comes to that generation, coming
Yeah.
along, Doctor Who will more than likely, and hopefully, I'm pretty sure it will, still be around then. So
Fingers
when they
crossed.
whad out David Tennant for like the 90th
For the 100th anniversary, yeah. And he'll look like he does in the series 3 finale. He'll be like, I've had enough of this now. Come on, man. Come on, enough.
But like, the BBC are thinking money, and like they bring him out, and you're just like, I remember back when you were on that show, and it's cool story to tell for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. It's great fun. I really loved it. It's fantastic.
Oh, it really is. But anyway, Troy, thank you so much for coming on today. It really was amazing to have you on here to talk about a lot of nerdy things, Doctor Who, Payday, Star Wars. Thank you for showing me your lightsaber.
Hang on, buy me a drink first.
Thank you for showing me your double-ended lightsaber.
You're really not making this better. You're really not making this better.
For those that are listening on audio, please watch the video for context.
Oh God! Well, I mean, if you got the video version on Spotify, how do you work it?
So I have the audio one on Spotify, and then that links to my YouTube one, which is obviously the video. So
I was going to say I could do what I do for the Who's There and roast the Apple listeners, because we have the video version on Spotify, but that's the only audio platform that allows video. So
okay.
It's like, so Apple are basically just screwed. So every time I make a video joke, I'm just like, bet you love that, don't you, Apple Podcast listeners? It's mean because I love them, but I'm just like, I don't get, like, it's Apple, man. They're a big company. Surely they can get video working on the podcast platform. Like, come on.
That's another thing we can petition for.
Exactly. Yeah. Bring the Celine back and get video podcasts on Apple. Two very important issues. Job done.
Yeah.
Seriously, exactly. No, it's been a pleasure, mate. I really do appreciate it. It's been really fun to chat to you.
Yeah, and it's been nice, knowing about the origins of your YouTube career and stuff like that. And it's again, I always appreciate getting advice, not just for myself, but obviously for people that are listening, because YouTube content creation and just content creation in general, especially stuff like streaming, over the past few years, a lot of people wanted to get into that, and especially for yourself, someone that's been in that game for a while, it's nice to hear your perspective on things, especially like the history of your channel and stuff. I think it is really cool to listen. And
no, I really appreciate it, mate. It's always nice as well to be in a podcast where I don't have to do the editing, so I appreciate that greatly too.
yeah, exactly. It is, it's nice to do the guest thing. But yeah, thank you so much. And for those that are listening, watching, however you're consuming the podcast, let me know what you thought of this episode, and also let me know what you thought about Troy's answer, because he might end up winning this voucher, and he might buy a lightsaber or two. Who knows?
50 quid, but I'll go towards it.
Yeah. But I say I'll probably go towards it. If
hey,
anything.
Look, the new Ahsoka one will be out at some point next year, so I can start a fund towards that.
Yeah, exactly. But again, thank you so much, and for those that are listening and watching, thank you so much for all the support. Click that subscribe button if you want to hear and see more episodes, and I will see you all next time. Oh yeah, sync them up.
There you go, Sonic. Oh, you got it as well. Hey, very nice. Good stuff.
But yes, thank you all for supporting the channel, and we'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.